Hey guys, how's it going? It is a great day in the garden today. I've got two plants to get planted today. Actually, that's a lie. I have two varieties of plants. One of them is 6 plants in total. And then I want to give you guys an update on the backyard project, and I'm very excited about it. So we finished the electrical, we finished the water, and things are coming along very, very nicely. Let me show you guys what the plan is for the day and what plants we're going to get planted. So first, I have this beautiful woolly Grevillea to get planted, and the blooms on it are so interesting. Someone said that it looks like somebody spit a pomegranate at it, and I can't unsee it, but I'm not mad at it at all. When I first saw this plant a couple weeks ago, I saw it at this place called the Rock Garden, and there were hummingbirds all over this thing. And I mean, if I was a hummingbird, I would definitely be all over this plant. The blooms on it are so interesting. It is a warmer zone only plant, zones 9 through 11, and it's native to Australia, but I just think it's so interesting. The leaves on it, they kind of remind me of succulents, but what it is they're kind of like folded in. They're not puffy like succulents, but when you see them this way, they look puffy, but they're actually curled, and so they kind of look like succulents this way, but they are just a leaf. They just kind of curl in, and I'm sure that's to be able to help it preserve water. It's a little more it's a drought tolerant plant, and it should bloom for me most of the year. That's what I was told, at least. We'll see how it goes when getting this thing planted. And it's so beautiful. The blooms on it are so interesting. And we're gonna plant this in the front yard, and I think it's gonna be perfect. It'll add some evergreen interest in the front yard, which is desperately needed. And it's going to give me some blooms year round, which is also desperately needed. And anything that the hummingbirds like, I love to add to my garden. So we get hummingbirds that stay pretty much year round for us. And so if they're attracted to this, I'm all for it. I've already seen them. This has been sitting in its container here for like 2 weeks now, and I've just seen them in the container, or I've seen them on this while it's in its container. So I know they're gonna love this plant, and I can't wait for it to grow up. The next one that we're gonna get planted is some Snapdragons. This is the Madame Butterfly Bronze, and I love Snapdragons. They were one of the first plants that I started from seed that I grew. They're just so easy. They're so gorgeous. I didn't start these from seed. I paid $6.49 for them, and I love them. I love Snapdragons. I think they're so much fun. I remember as a kid going into the garden, getting in trouble because I would accidentally break them, because if you squeeze Snapdragons, they talk. The Madame series, though, is a very full Snapdragon, and so they don't do the talking thing that your traditional Snapdragons will do. But they are very, very cool. They're gorgeous for flower arrangements. They're great to cut on. So these ones I'm going to use to cut on, and they'll be for flower arranging. They're a little bit cold hardy, so I'm planting them now, and these are a very, very good size. So I should get blooms here pretty soon off of these guys, probably in the next 2 months, which is going to be absolutely amazing to have something to cut on. And these guys, as long as I keep cutting on them, they're just going to continue to bloom. They will top out at a couple feet tall, I think 3 feet tall. They are just an annual though, so I usually try to pop some in the landscape because I love them in the landscape. I have some in the landscape already, and then I think I'm gonna put these ones in the cut flower garden just because they're just, I don't know, I want to be able to cut on these ones, and I know if I put them in the cut flower garden, then I'll actually cut on them. So Madame Butterfly and the woolly Grevillea, and I'm excited to get both in the ground. Let's start with the woolly Grevillea. I'm going to put it in our front driveway area because it's so it's a very gravelly soil that's up there, and so we're going to get it planted into that, and I think it'll be very, very happy being a drought tolerant plant, and it's going to get full sun. This thing is just going to cook up there, and so it should be pretty happy. is gonna be so pretty. Little pop of evergreen right there. It's gonna get probably about that tall, fill in that space. I have the Rose of Sharon, and the plan is this will grow up nice and tall, but this is going to kind of grow through it. So it'll be really nice and very interesting because you're not going to really be able to tell where the Rose of Sharon is coming from. And I think that that's going to be super interesting. I've got the Verbena bonariensis right there, and a lot of people hate it because they self-seed and they do take over, but I love them. I think it'll be free and airy, and it'll be tall this year. I did winter that one over, and then my pots are empty, and I do need to go get something for those. So it's looking good. The Rose of Sharon eventually is going to get tall and provide some really beautiful color up here. I've got some grasses, and then I've got a Laura pedlum here. So it's coming along up here. It does look really good, and I am very happy to have that in the ground right there. All right, we are now in the back garden. This is now the cut flower garden. It was my vegetable garden, and I repeatedly call it my vegetable garden. It's no longer a vegetable garden. It's the cut flower garden. I still might refer to it as the vegetable garden because that's what it always has been. But this is where I want to plant those Snapdragons, so that way I actually cut on them. I've got a couple that are already in the bed right here. This is the salmon ones that are in here, and I would like to get planted the Madame Butterfly ones. And I put some lettuce in here. They're in these containers right here, and I think it's just time. I think they're just done. I'd rather get the flowers in. The flowers are so much more important than 3 heads of lettuce. And so I'm gonna plant around the lettuce, and then my plan is to just harvest on the lettuce this week and finish it off. So let's get these guys planted because it's gonna be so good this summer and spring. Almost forgot the words. These Snapdragons are all tucked in, and I did go ahead and put these cloches back in here. They're just the chicken wire ones, and I love them. I like the look of them, but I do think that they have helped tremendously with bird pressure because these 3 lettuce were the only ones that were under the cloches, and these 3 lettuces are the only ones that have survived. So I've got the Snapdragons all tucked in here, so they're kind of spread out a little bit, so that way when I pull the lettuce, they'll have plenty enough room. And then I've got lupin over on this side. This is a variety called My Castle, and so I've got some lupin to cut on. I'll have the Snapdragons, and then I have some status, and then there's a little bit more Snapdragons in here. You can see there's one right here, and then there's another one right over there. Those are the salmon Snapdragons. So plenty enough Snapdragons, some status, and it's just gonna be pretty good back here. So I'm very pleased with how that all got on the ground. Very, very easy. Fabulous time. The auger makes it easy, and putting things into raised beds where there's fresh soil, fabulous. If you notice, I didn't go in with any fertilizer for any of these plants. I will fertilize the Snapdragons in the springtime when we actually warm up. We are having days that are in the 70s or high 60s, low 70s. We had one day that hit 70. But until we actually hit springtime, it's January, we shouldn't be this warm right now, but we are. I'm going to hold off on fertilizing because I don't want these things to put on a whole bunch of new growth and then have them get hit by a cold spell and lose all of their new growth. So I'm waiting. I'm just hoping that they'll just put on some root growth. The fertilizer that I have pushes for root growth and foliar growth and flower growth, which is not what I want to happen right now. So I'm holding off on fertilizing until the springtime, at least on some things. A lot of things around the property are getting fertilizer, but those I'm just holding off on because I don't want new growth to get nipped. And then I wanted to show you guys that we got the irrigation and the electrical done on the property, and I am so excited that it is done, because now we get to start the fun stuff of putting in the edging and putting in the gravel for the walkways and bringing in a ton of topsoil. Not topsoil, we're gonna bring in a lot of like good compost, and it means that we get to start working. Excited, and I'm already sore. Let me show you guys how it's looking though. So looking from the back of the property, you can see there's this section, and then we put in water right here. So this is what we did with that faucet that's over there. We put this guy in on a 4x6, and then we ran cast iron pipe up the back, so it's very sturdy. And then we have the angry frog. He just looks so mad. I love him though. So this brass watering spigot right here, I do have one for my grandmother that is a bunny. She needs some work done because it got caught in a fire, and so we have to rebuild this whole area for it. And I also want to get one of these like flanks that go on the back. I love this flower. But then we'll have 2 frogs and a bunny, and the bunny one is going to go up front whenever we have time to get to it. And then we just put on a little Y, so that way we can hook up the hose link on it, and then we can have this one that just stays open for if you need to water. And then this is the walkway right here, and then over here the bed goes right about there. So these are right at the very edge of the bed. So this jelly bean that's right here is going to have pathway lights on the inside and on the outside, so we can plug in, and then we'll have an extra outlet should we need. This is the irrigation, which will come in. It's not going to stay this far up, but I do want to put some dirt in here, so this bed is going to get raised up. So we left these a little bit longer than they actually need to be, so that way we can cut them at the time that we need to get them cut. And then this is where our irrigation for this bed is going to be. And then as a reminder, this is all just going to be like a gravel walkway, and it's going to come around, and you'll kind of enter into here hoping to get 4 containers or 4 matching things to hit in each of these corners, so that way it feels very cohesive over in this area. And then we got the electrical done and the plumbing done on this side. And what I really want to do is I want to put a fireplace right here, not like a fire pit. I really want like a fireplace, so it creates kind of a wall and feels a little more private in here. And then I also think I want to do some type of screen in here is what I'm thinking. And then we'll have trees and a few other little things in here, like things that stay like 6 feet tall, 8 feet tall, not anything bigger than that. But same thing, electrical, because we're going to do pathway lights all the way around, and then we'll have uplights for anything that needs an uplight. And then we have our water there, which is also a little tall. And then we'll fill this in with dirt, and then you won't be walking here, but this will be the walkway here. And we did get all of our sprinklers in the ground here, so those turn on super easy. It's so nice. We're using the Ratio system, in case you're wondering, and it's been fabulous so far. You just do everything from your phone. And then this is also going to be a flower bed, and we have irrigation here. This one's not going to be raised up probably any taller than it really is, so I'll come in and I'm going to pull all the grass out of this, and then I will put metal edging along here, so it'll kind of have this little soft bend to it and a straight metal edge that way. And then I can plant flowers in this. And then we did just plant these 3 birch trees, and I think you guys saw that a couple videos ago. So that, my friends, is all that I have for you today. Very easy day, mellow day in the garden. It's getting windy and it's getting cold. Not sure where this is coming from because it's not been on the forecast. I thought we were done with cold days, and I didn't know we were gonna have any wind. So that is gonna be it. The Grevillea looks beautiful. The Snapdragons are going to look beautiful, and we're moving forward with the progress in the backyard, which is so exciting. So I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you guys for coming along with us and visiting our garden, and I'll see you all in the next one. Bye, guys.